Let's do it live on a Tuesday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily. Merely Bo and the Great Z. How you living, buddy?
I'm better
these
whenever.
Notes I have.
Better whenever I'm with you, Bo.
That's
what
right.
a treat to be back rolling. I can tell you the official Nana was very pleased that the band was back together yesterday.
Oh.
It brought her great joy. So, by the way, I have an update for you because I'm sure people have been waiting with
I got my
bated breath. Remember when Nana got stuck in the
Yeah,
lawn?
for sure. And what was the right cause of action there? Can you go up on the curb? Can you?
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Lots going on.
many people went through it, and now there's a little bit of a scandal in the neighborhood. So many people have gone through it.
Yeah. It's still an issue?
The number that was reported at the time was around 10, approximately 10 people.
Okay.
So a few weeks ago, like right after it happened, the head of the HOA.
Refresh for the people who are
Okay.
catching up on this.
So a few weeks ago,
Yeah, this
in
was-
our neighborhood, and in our neighborhood, it's off of a main street. There's one street down, and then it's a huge circle with an inner area.
Yeah.
But there's just one street in and out. And that street comes down a hill at an angle. A tree fell across the in and out street
Okay.
so that it was you could not traverse the main street.
Yeah.
So somebody at some point decided that they would go around the tree onto a tree lawn that's looks to be in front of a vacant lot, but I guess it is attached. It's attached to one of the lots, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. So this isn't common area. This is someone's property.
It turns out, yes.
Okay. But I would have assumed, based on my knowledge of your development and your telling of the story, I would have assumed that was almost like common area. Because it feels like it's borderline to me.
It's borderline, and it is just the grass between the sidewalk and the road. So it is
Yeah.
the tree lawn, but that is the property
somebody's
of the
property.
homeowner. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So somebody went, and obviously, it's winter. So somebody went, more people went, and eventually there were tracks through there, but it was mud because you would, as we said, it was wet as winter. So my mom goes in her Prius.
Yep.
And get stuck. Not really an off-road vehicle.
No.
Not a lot of horsepower or torque to get you out of a situation like that or any of that. I don't believe it has settings
Not
for
a whole lot of clearance.
no slip starts or anything like that to get you out of a stuck
you're-
situation. It's puttering along.
Yep.
So she putters along and gets stuck because the ruts were very deep at this point. Those are very
were.
small tires.
Yep.
So neighbors are bringing her apples and water as she sits there. Now, meanwhile, just so to paint like a full picture of this, which is a great
All of a
detail.
sudden, this is like a scene from Alive.
Oh,
like,
my
are we going to
goodness.
get out of
Yeah,
the Andes alive?
Yeah. Well, it's also got some curb elements to it because
it's not far from there to your home.
it is.
How many steps? Is it a quarter mile? There's no way it's even.
No way. No.
No way.
Not even a chance.
even.
And
Yep.
she's equally as close to her house. Her house is straight up the hill and across the street. My house is, just around the circle.
Right.
Not even an eighth of the circle.
Right.
She's like, well, I can't leave because the tow people said you got to be in your car when they get here.
Sure.
Meanwhile, from my home, she could have sat in what my wife calls, Sweet Miss K calls the chair of contemplation, where she sits and that's where she does her reading, looks out over
Much
the
more
water.
documentation is
yes,
taken
it's
there. I
from
noticed.
there. Sure.
Yeah.
You could see exactly where my mom's car was. You would have been able to see the tow truck come to the car, and you would have been able to be there in
Short order.
a minute.
Yeah. Very.
Nonetheless, she stays there. They get her out. It was funny. They asked her if she needed a tow truck. She said yes. Turns out she didn't need a tow truck. She needed somebody to pull her out, which they thought was funny. Nonetheless, so she gets out. So, and people had been talking, oh, we saw so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, like 10 people. So the total bill has come due, $260 to fix this portion of the land.
Oh, there's a bill for a land bill.
Yeah, for the gardener to fix it and, get,
Replant.
Yeah, replant, level it out, the whole deal. So there was an email that came out a couple days after this happened, just a few days after, from the head of the HOA to everybody in the neighborhood. And it was, hey, I know you guys have all seen what happened over on the people's property. If you drove through that, please let me know because we all need to chip in for the repair.
Okay.
So I write back. I said, well, my mom doesn't live in the neighborhood, but I know my mom did it, as does everybody, because she was the one who got stuck.
We all know we saw her do it.
We saw it, yeah. So she was fed. She was hydrated. So it said, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So today, this morning, and I don't even know if my mom knows. This could be breaking news for my mom right
God,
now
Nana.
as she listens.
Brace yourself in your hoodie.
Okay, so 10 people
Yep.
at least I mean, this is a pretty busy. It's in and out. It's the only way to get in or out.
It's the only way in or out.
Okay.
That's it.
So let's call the number 12. We'll call it a dozen.
Okay.
Of the dozen, how many self-reported in your estimation? This is a good, nice neighborhood, nice homes. Like, I would expect the reporting percentage to be 100%.
Oh, no. I would say, I mean, people suck. I would imagine like 3 people acknowledge that they did it. 3.
All right, he says 3. You?
None. East Side.
Well, we already know Nana has acknowledged.
So
zero is an impossible bet.
3 residents. Nana and 3 residents.
For a total of 4.
Yeah.
1. Nana.
Including Nana, a total of
good human.
3 people.
Nailed it. God, I was right there.
So he sent out this email today that was like, we all know it was more than 3 people.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Can you just tell us so you can chip in? Because it's $260. If it's 12 people, we're talking about $20 and change a person. We're talking about 3 now. We're at 80, 87, 86, 67. Bo.
How many homes in the development?
I think maybe 40.
Split it by 40.
Fine. I'd chip in.
Everybody pays, what is that, $2?
$6
$6?
$6.50.
$6.50.
Fine.
$6.50 a piece. Because if you didn't do it, you would have. If you would have
had
to.
If I was there.
If you were there, you would have.
Right.
So that's it. So it's $6.50 a piece. Everybody do it. Instead of this, you're never going to get people to admit these things because people suck. So just everybody $6.50 and be done with it. That's it.
That's outrageous to me.
It is outrageous, but people are not honest. People are the worst.
I'm gonna email a guy right now.
That's what you do. I've done this guy's job, and it sucks. But he can't be. He's got. My guess is this guy or gal has got enough on their plate that they don't need to be tracking down $22 from the 10 people who did it. So like enough. Just everybody $6.50, because if you didn't do it, you would have. It was the only way in or out. It's just bad luck for the people who got caught, got stuck having to do it. That's it. $6.50 out. Problem solved. Next on the docket. It's the only way forward. If you're looking for honesty,
yeah,
it ain't there, man.
No way, because someone's going to be like, if I were to say I was a part of it, does this end up with me in court because someone's going to sue me now? Because everybody's got the sue fever and everybody wants, like, if I admit to something, then it's in writing and then further action can be taken.
Yes.
In all fairness.
Yeah. That's it. All right, so that I've solved your problem. That's what you do. That's how you solve it. Everybody's $6.50. No one's complaining about $6.50. You move it along,
next. You've
and
done
that's
all
it.
you can.
What do you want me to do here? Helping people. That's all I do. I should be an HOA advisory committee. You pay me some money, I come in and tell you how to handle the business.
Well, we'll see what the response to that is. But I mean, that to me, I saw that and I was just stunned.
You're never gonna get people to be honest.
No way.
People are the worst.
It even said basically that based on the damage, the landscaper said that it was impossible, that it was only.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like if you were at the chair of contemplation, you would have seen at least a dozen. For sure. Come on. I had a bad moment this morning.
I don't believe it.
So I had I have told you that we watched. This is probably about 6 months ago. Me and NBC watched, the now 11-year-old NBC watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And this morning, as we were probably about a month and a half ago, he goes, "Well, did you ever do that, Dad? Did you ever fake sick?" I said, "Yeah, a couple of times, did for sure. Yeah,
Dude,
that's what
I was elite.
Yeah, and you would have had to. I think your threshold to outsmart the Pedro, and then Nana with her medical. You had a lot that you had to navigate.
I had the benefit of Nana working for at least a lot of my early life, and I'm sure she'll text me and correct me if I was wrong on this, but she worked the graveyard shift.
Okay.
So that when she would come home, she was pretty zonked.
Yeah. So you just had to outsmart Pedro?
Yeah. And they would.
How diligent was he?
We had
Well, I don't know. I mean, we beat him in court here in about 30 seconds.
Yeah. He was diligent, but I had a foolproof plan until they realized what they could not do. So I had a thermometer.
Yeah.
but we had an old mercury thermometer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can run that under really hot water and
Not
get
one of the guns.
Get the temperature up, and then you shake it down so it's not like, let's not get
You don't
scared
wanna go to
here.
the doctor.
Right, but 100, come right
Sure.
in 100. So I got really good at that.
So they wouldn't bring it in? They wouldn't bring
They
the
would give
thermometer
it.
in?
They would give it to me. I'd be like, oh, I don't feel good. I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I'd have the thermometer. And then when I'd come out, I'd go in with it in my mouth.
Oh, my mom always administered.
I'd come out, and there it was. And sure enough,
Okay. No.
there was a point where I got a second
Mm-hmm.
because it got obvious with the water running that I would prep
Smart.
and then go in, and so there would be no water running. So now it sounded like there could be no foul play, and then I just swap those out
Smart.
and then get them. But I rarely did it. I had to be feeling bad. I didn't not just like I enjoyed school.
I did too. I don't know that I enjoyed it, but it was always felt like by the time I was done with when I would pull this stunt, by the time that the day was over, I was like, I'm not sure that was worth it. Because then the next day you're behind
Sure.
on everything. You got to catch up. Like now all of a sudden I'm not going to gym class. I don't get to go to recess because I got to catch up on work that I missed the day before, and it's hardly worth
I
it.
don't recall that part of it.
Yeah, that was that's the way they operated. So like if you missed the previous day, then you had to stay in for recess the next day or miss gym in order to catch up on
no way.
on the work.
There was
So,
none of that involved.
yeah,
I wouldn't
no
have.
good.
I wouldn't have made that trade off unless I was truly ill.
It was
But
always a brutal spot. Like,
would-
is this really worth it?
I mean, obviously, every kid was sometimes. I was really sick, but every
Yeah, for
now
sure.
and then it was like you need a mental health day, and I'd watch Blackbeard's Ghost, Swiss Family Robinson, Davy Crockett.
Stack
What a
it.
day!
What a
Yeah.
win. The River Bandits.
Man, love them.
So NBC this morning was like, I don't feel well. Like he came in, my alarm goes off. I don't know, usually somewhere right after 6. He was in before that. I don't feel good. I'm like, something's up. I don't buy it. Like I don't see it. I don't see it in temp. I don't see it. I don't see anything in terms of a cough. There's not a nausea that I've seen of. Like none of this has happened. I'm like, we'll see. I said, what do you got going on in school today? Like now I'm like pressing him a little bit. Nothing, Dad. I just don't feel good. I'm like, well, you're going because you don't have any of these things, so you're going. We're not dealing with this. So it comes time. He's negotiating with his mom all morning on what needs to happen. Where they're very smart to go that way.
Divide and conquer. Yeah, sure.
Yep. So I can see that she is about ready to acquiesce, and I come in on the end of it after taking Buddy Garrity for his walk, and I go, no, you're going. That's it. You're going. We're not doing this.
It's over.
We're going to Disney in a couple weeks. Like I don't.
Decision's been made.
There's only so many days. Like you're going. That's it. So 12:45 today. Call from the nurse. Come get him.
He is
Bad job out of me. He's legitimately sick.
Well, I like what you were doing. You're setting the tone that there will not be any free sick passes.
Yeah.
And he went in there. So was it a stomach thing? Did he end up?
Lethal combination of them both.
Oh man!
But we didn't have nothing happened at school, so we got out
in time.
But yeah.
So now
he's
now he's
now
going to look at you side eye. He's going to give you some serious side eye.
More importantly, you already went through one round of this.
Yeah.
Oh God, you were always worried about that.
You're home.
Are you starting round 2 here?
No, the protocols are in place. I mean, my protocols are pretty good. I feel very strong. Feel very good.
You look good.
Yeah.
Well, no. I'm just saying, like, the kid gets it.
Well, this would be his first time through it if he gets it.
Oh.
So he hasn't had it previous. He was the one who escaped last week. He was the only one to escape.
Well, he's escaped no more.
It appears that he has escaped no more.
That's right.
I believe you have that. This from the Pro Football Writers, the all NFL team. We have this list, and 3 of our guys make it: Joel Bitonio, Myles Garrett, and Nick Chubb.
Yeah, we talked about it. Give him a little shout out yesterday. 3.
Yeah.
That was Bitonio and Garrett, 3 straight years for them. All 3 of them were on it last year. So 2nd straight for Chubb, 3 straight for Bitonio, Myles Garrett.
Does this show up like when
No.
No. Yeah. So it's just there, and that's it, and that's where it's at.
It's fun. It's nice acknowledgement. It's good to see.
Did you guys happen to see? As I just want to make sure that I'm not jumping on something that came in a little hot today.
You
Make
did.
Sure
I
that
liked
there's
it.
not something
Very
that I need to
enjoyable.
hit later.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys aware of what has happened in the in regard to the line in the Bengals Chiefs game?
Well, I guessed Chiefs -1 at the time. You said it opened yesterday at Chiefs -1. Then by the time our show happened, when I guessed that line, it had become a pick 'em.
Yep.
My guess is you're going to say it's now like Bengals -2.
So it was. I want to see. I'll use ESPN on this, but earlier today, on and it is as you know, Bally Bet and all that, all the fun of it all. You got this morning. It was 2.5.
2.5. Yeah.
2.5.
So that's an absurd middle that Vegas
So
is
that's-
exposed to. A massive middle. It's a 3.5-point middle.
That just doesn't in 24 hours.
So you could have the Bengals +1 and the Chiefs -2.5, or the Chiefs +2.5 right now, and just hope that the Bengals win by 1.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
Bengals win by 1 or 2, you cash both. The Chiefs win by 1, you still win on the Chiefs side, and don't lose the other.
Yep.
That's a in the NFL world.
That's crazy.
That's a big discrepancy.
Yeah. You rarely see a move like that, and I mean, I believe we had this. We talked about this yesterday, that there was going to be an overreaction.
Oh yeah.
To Cincinnati,
They'd be undervalued.
and the way they
Chiefs.
handled, and the Chiefs are going to end up being undervalued in this. I did see this from Warren Sharp. The Bengals have won the last 3 games against Kansas City. This we all know. Kansas City, though, led in those games by 18, 15, and 7, and led going into the 4th in all 3.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild.
Yeah. That's why if he goes 4-0, as I'm looking up a little bit I was reading one of the things today. If he goes 4-0 against them, pretty impressive. But that is a wild stat.
Yeah.
The way that it's gone down.
It has. It's not dominance from Cincinnati. They've owned fourth quarters and been
comebacks. Yeah.
When needed to be. They've been
by
very,
the way,
very clutch.
the Chiefs, to flip it around, the Chiefs' only Super Bowl that they've won was of that ilk as well.
True.
Against the Niners.
Did you know this? The 4 teams that are playing this weekend since November 1st with these starting quarterbacks.
Hold on. Let me try to guess. All right, so the Niners haven't lost. The Bengals haven't lost.
No.
The Eagles, I'm guessing, with Hurts, have lost 1.
2, I thought.
And Mahomes, I don't know when the Chiefs have lost. I'll say maybe they've combined lost 2 games.
Got it. 35-2. 1 loss for Jalen Hurts, 1 loss for Mahomes.
Oh, God,
That's
I had it.
That's the list.
I had it.
35-2.
Tacos for everybody.
How about that?
35. Yeah,
35-2.
Somebody asked me.
These are the right teams.
Somebody asked me the other day, "What do you think of the playoff teams that are left?" And I was like, "This is the best Final Four you could have ever hoped for or imagined." Now, I think some people would say, and probably unwisely, like, "Oh, I wish it was the Bills and the Eagles on one side and the Bengals and the Chiefs on the other." But listen, the Bills lost, and they've lost a few games and haven't necessarily looked great. This, to me, is the ultimate Final Four. That number you just gave, 35-2, is astonishing. I don't know that there's ever been a hotter quartet of teams in the NFL. If it ends up being Bengals, Niners, which would be a wonderful run back of
round
some
3
of my favorite. Can you call it the round 3, though, when you've lost 2 rounds already?
Well, I think you can when it's 30 years in between rounds.
Maybe. But I feel like, typically, if you're going to say, "Oh, it's round 3," it feels like it's a rubber match, which this is no such thing, unfortunately. Sorry about that to the Natty. But if it's Niners and it is Bengals, the Bengals' last loss was Halloween, and the Niners' last loss had to be in October as well. So these are teams that would not have lost for 3 consecutive months facing each other.
Well, let me just double check on this. So the Niners' last loss was to the Chiefs. 44. They actually lost back-to-back games. Niners lost at the Falcons 28-14.
That is unfathomable.
And then they lost to the Chiefs 44-23. They also lost, my God, they lost to Denver 11-10, and they lost to the Bears 19-10.
That was in like a weird rainstorm and whatever.
Yeah,
that was week 1.
They were 3-4.
3-4.
Have not lost since.
Gibbe was throwing them on the hot seat.
Yeah, 3-4. I had no recollection of them losing to the Falcons 28-14. Certainly the Broncos 11-10.
So they've won 12 straight games.
They have not lost since that.
If they were 3-4, they had to end up 13-4, and they won 2 playoff games. So it has to be 12 straight.
They haven't
games.
lost since week 7.
So they've won 12 straight, and the Bengals have won. That was week 8.
Yeah. Bengals haven't lost since here on Halloween.
That's outrageous. I kind of hope they do meet.
That was week 8.
Yeah, week 8.
I think the Chiefs' only loss is to the Bengals, isn't it? Yeah, they lost to
early
Cincinnati.
season slip up to the Colts, I believe. Didn't the Colts beat them?
Colts beat them. So did the Bills beat them early in the year as well.
Yeah.
They've lost. I mean, the Chiefs have won 6 straight. They've won 11 of 12, and their only loss is to Cincinnati 27-24.
Yeah. The Eagles are tough because you have the Minshew games, right?
Right.
They lose to Dallas, and they lost to somebody else wonky.
Minshew wasn't great. Yeah. The Chiefs lost 24-20 to the Bills, 27-20. Dude, this is pretty wild. They have 3 losses on the year, Kansas City does, by a total of 10 points.
Yeah, and didn't we beat the Bengals like 31-13 or something like
Right.
that?
The other teams have been slumped.
Yeah.
The
No
Chiefs have not
slumping.
been slumped. They've lost by 3 to the Bengals. They lost
Slump-free.
by 4 to the Bills and 3 by the Colts. That's it. That's the list.
They're free of slump.
Yeah. And the only thing that what I think has happened is people are finally getting wise to the fact that Cincinnati, during much of their stretch through November, not only wins but covers. San Francisco's been the same way. They win, cover. The Chiefs, because people love to bet Kansas City in such a big way, their numbers are huge, and so they don't cover like those other teams cover.
They've been overspread like the Cowboys.
The same thing happens to them. Ohio State football, Lakers, they become that type of team. Go ahead.
So there's that guy, the island bum who tweets us from time to time, and he always calls everything a turd.
Oh yeah, I like that.
I like that guy too. He cracks me up.
Yeah.
He just gave me the best. This is one of the best. This is one of my favorite tweets. This is my favorite tweet in a while. This really made me laugh. Dude, you live in Northern Ohio. How could you let the official Nana drive a Prius in the winter? Are you new here? Bad call, not smart. Hashtag turd son. Hashtag Prius turd. Hashtag winter turd car. It's a wonderful vehicle, and she has snow tires on it.
Yeah.
To be fair,
and you're not used to trees coming down that you have to drive around. If the tree didn't come down, she's fine.
if she's not off-roading, she's
Not
never had one
off-roading.
issue on snow or ice. Not one. She has snow tires on it. The battery makes it a heavy car. It's actually not a bad snow car. It's not a good off-roading car.
Yeah, if you're going to go
Off-roading
up
turd.
on curbs to avoid.
Not off-roading in a Prius normally.
No, right.
No.
You're
You're
not
just
supposed
keeping
to.
it between
you
the
think Larry
navigational
David
beacons.
in his Prius? You think Larry David was running around off-roading in California in the dunes of Malibu? LD? No.
No.
By the way, one of the weirdest or strangest and insane decisions I almost made was there was a time when he auctioned off the Prius that he drove in Curb.
Like the carpool lane Prius.
Yes.
Yeah.
That Prius. And if you bought it, and it wasn't going for insane, but if you bought it, you got to go to LA, pick it up, and you could have lunch with him and I think play around a golf them. And I was
Wow.
almost like, okay,
That
I
feels
feel
like
I
that
need to
would
have
be-
this Prius. But then I think it
You
got
could
a
almost
little- then
just
it got
leave
out
the
of-
Prius and just do the rest of it.
Keep the Prius.
Right. Fine. Lunch, golf.
In.
Sold. I feel like you guys would have a ball, too, because you're a great golfer, so you'd be excited about it.
Yeah, and I feel like we'd have some good banter.
You'd be fine. The banner would be good.
I'd pitch him on all the various episodes that me and you and me and S have
Yeah.
and Beatbox have concocted over the years, if that were things we thought would be good material for him.
Yeah, I like it. I bet nobody ever pitches him ideas.
I'm sure they did. But
That would be a funny bit, like people
I think it's like
pitching
buyer
him.
That should be an
beware, though. If you
episode.
pitch that
an
idea,
episode.
you
There's an
might end up
episode right
making
there.
Fun of you.
right.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I think
People coming up with him, telling him what you should do this. Oh, really?
The
Thank
fake
you.
vacation one is a perfect one and one that he would use. That is something
Which one?
he would really use. Fake vacation. We'll talk about it in the break.
All right. We've had a few. All right. Lots to get to. We got One Thought. Poisal's here. Browns fans today through midnight, February 9th. Head to NFL.com, FedEx, the NFL's official Twitter handle, or the NFL mobile app to cast your vote for Nick Chubb as FedEx Ground Player of the Year. 2022 FedEx Air and Ground NFL Players of the Year will be announced during the NFL Honors on February 9th. We're off and running on a Tuesday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time for what we learned from the divisional round. Hello, Gibby.
Hello, gentlemen.
How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm here. We're rolling through. We're getting through.
Do we have big snow tonight? Is that the deal?
I don't know exactly. It looks like it's going to be a snow event and then transition into rain and snow
sucks.
and then back into snow tomorrow night.
That's where you run into your problems.
Correct.
When the
Not
rain
going to be
hops in
ideal
there.
tomorrow.
Yeah, if it just snow through, fine. No big deal. Snow through. Once you start sprinkling in the rain in the middle of the snow, that's when you're going to be – that's problematic for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, not ideal at all. All right, time for one thought. And this week, in addition to one thought, I'd like you to also come up with one game ball
Yep.
and one GOAT, not greatest of all time.
The other type of
Thank you
goat.
for the punctuation
You
class.
you blew it, boy.
Punctuation matters.
So does driving on people's lawns and not reporting it.
Sad.
Sad.
Yeah.
I look forward
Sad.
to what the HOA press says.
Yeah.
That's the way to handle it.
Yep. All right.
650, everybody.
So
Next.
one thought on each game, one game ball, and one GOAT from divisional round play 2023 will start on Saturday afternoon. The Kansas City Chiefs knock off Jacksonville 27-20. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, the story in this one with the high ankle sprain. Bishop, we'll start with you here.
Well, I mean, I think my one thought on it is that this is 5 straight AFC championship games for the Kansas City Chiefs at a time when the AFC is this the deepest the conference has ever been? I think the answer to that is probably yes. And so the fact that they've done this 5 straight times is nothing short of remarkable.
Awesome.
It's amazing. Did you also know that Andy Reid is the only NFL coach in history to have 10 playoff wins with 2 franchises?
I did not know that.
He did that with this one. Only coach in NFL history with 10 playoff wins with 2 franchises. So that is my one thought on that one. My game ball would go to Travis Kelce, who was just stunning. He got 14 of 17 targets, 98 yards, and the 2 scores. I believe I have him in our fantasy.
Oh, you do?
Oh, you
That's
do.
right. Yep.
That's right.
So that worked out well. I don't know. Is there somebody who you blew it, boy, in this one?
Yeah, I got to go Jamal Agnew.
Yeah.
They're down 10.
Yeah.
First and goal at the 9. He throws them a little out, and without anybody touching him, he fumbled, and they lost the ball.
There you go.
That was I think it was a massive play.
Yeah. Yeah, down 10 at that point.
Yeah.
Segura, one thought?
Fun game. Jags are a team of consequence. Mahomes gutted it out, but it is clear that his inability to extend drives and plays with his legs will be a big factor in this game against the Bengals. It was a big factor in that game against the Jags. There was one where he tried to run. He almost ended up fumbling it, where he threw, and fortunately it was an incomplete pass for him. But that changes a little bit of the calculus of what they're able to do offensively.
How about Isaiah Pacheco, too, by the way?
Also on your team, 95.
Yeah, nice. One of those, he kind of was building to it all year and now is ready to go.
He's
Rutgers,
good.
right? Rutgers kid? I think he's at a Rutgers. Running
he?
back out of Rutgers? Pretty sure.
I do not know.
Yeah, I'm almost sure he is.
I feel like you said it with great authority.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't think so on this one.
no.
You don't think I have that right?
No, I don't
you
think
don't
you
think
said
that
it
I know?
confident.
Rutgers.
Yeah, nailed it.
There it is.
That's right.
Should have been more confident.
He had 830
relative.
yards, 5 touchdowns this year.
Relative.
Averaging nearly 5 yards a carry.
Up next, guys, who's your game ball go to, Segura?
Kelsey, 14 catches. It's a record. Isn't that
And
a
you
playoff
know
record?
he's getting the ball.
14 catches, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's only 7 yards a catch, but he's kind of an extension of that running game. He's the safety blanket. Put it this way. He caught 14 passes. The rest of the team caught 13 passes. That feels important.
And again,
It's like the
you
Rams
know
unbelievable.
he's getting the
Mike
ball.
Tice.
How many no? I was
What?
trying to think. Are there 2 brothers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Is there somebody
The
I'm
Kelseys
missing?
have a chance.
That's what I
Yeah.
brought it up because they've got a real chance. Jason's right there.
see.
Travis is lock.
Travis is a lock.
How many All Pro?
That's what I'm going to go look for.
Jason Kelce, if he's got 5-6 All Pros,
That's a lot.
I don't know.
It's
if
a lot.
he
The
does.
Hoff has
That's-
5. I don't know that he's got that.
The Hoff has 6, right?
6.
And then 8
Yeah,
total
Hoff has
because he has
6
2 second
with 2
teams.
seconds, yeah. All right. Jason Kelsey. Wow, 5.
5 All-Pro.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. 6-time Pro Bowl, 5-time Hall of Fame, 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, and he also, let's see if he has any second teams. No, so 5-time All-Pro, including 5 of the last 6 years, and he won a Super Bowl. Yeah, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
He's headed there.
So
Then.
they
they
will-
would have a chance because
yeah.
like the Matthews, Bruce is in, Clay,
Eli,
a lot of people think
Peyton.
should be. Peyton's in.
Eli.
Eli is going to be. I don't know. I don't. Hard to. I don't know. That's going to be a tricky one on Eli Manning. I bet he gets in
I mean,
because
he's
of
beaten. His Super Bowls are incredible.
they're incredible, but he's also
Eli.
the touchdown interception is what it is. The winning percentage is what it is. Like it's
I think
not.
he's a 0-time.
There's probably somebody I'm missing historically.
I think he's a 0.
Yeah,
I'm gonna Google it
but
right
they
now.
got a shot. The Kelseys have a shot.
On to Saturday night foosball, and the Philadelphia Eagles handled the Giants quite easily. 38-7 the final score as the Eagles make their playoff debut. Zagura, 1 thought, 1 game ball, GOAT.
Jalen Hurts gets the game ball. First, real consequential playoff appearance for Jalen. And, coming off the injury, what would he look like? 16-24, 154, 2 touchdowns through the air. Ran for 34 and another touchdown. I mean, this was a boat racing. GOAT is, I guess, the Giants. When you're down 28-0, like, I don't think you can blame one person. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those that just we didn't see it coming, but how bad is Minnesota?
I told you that we've been talking about how bad their defense has been forever, that they suck. They do. They were the worst 13-win team in the history of the league. That's what the Vikings were this year. And shame on me because I bought into the Giants. I thought that they would be close, and they really haven't been that good down the stretch either. They're like 4-6 in their last 10, so it wasn't even. I was lulled by what they did in Minnesota. So the GOAT is me for being a bozo.
There was a good chance at one point late in the year that we didn't think either New York team would get in.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was – did you guys see the ratings from the weekend? I don't know if we have that later in.
We don't.
So 45
they came
million
out after, yeah.
45 million on the Dallas game, 40 million on the Cincinnati Buffalo game.
Jeez.
32 million on Jaguars Chiefs. So this is the first time that the early Saturday game beat Saturday primetime. The primetime game did 28. Giants and Philly only did 28 million. I say only.
I bet it went like this.
Yes, because it's 28-0. That's a part of it. Yeah. But it also speaks to this league that you can be in, like the Cowboys are their own thing. We've talked about that before. But the fact that you can be in Buffalo and Cincinnati and get 40 million. It also tells you that the Patrick Mahomes stuff's real in terms of him moving the needle. He moved the needle. Because if that's not him against Jacksonville, that's not 32. In the early afternoon game,
yeah. There's a reason why they're going to Germany.
Yeah, that's he is, he's the State Farm guy. He's all that.
All right, I've done a little bit of research.
Go.
As of now, I do not believe that there are any brothers currently both in the Hall of Fame.
All right.
In the baseball one, is Phil Niekro, Joe Niekro?
I can't even open my mind up to baseball at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. They never elect anybody anyways every year.
Yeah, I can't. The spigot on that sport has been turned off for me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Did one of the Barbers make it?
Yes.
Rondé, is he in? Tiki's definitely not getting in, but I don't know. Did Rondé get in?
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's one that should. The Sharps.
So I have them
Shannon
listed.
and Sterling Sharp. Like Sterling Sharp probably should be a Hall of Famer. Like his career ended because of injury.
Yes, I agree with that. So you've got Eli Peyton are a possibility. The Sharps, I think, are a possibility. Matthew's still a possibility. The two locks are going to be, in my opinion, Kelsey and the Watts. TJ and JJ.
TJ and JJ.
I mean, JJ's automatic, and TJ is most
headed
certainly
there.
Trending. I was arguing with my dad this weekend about TJ Watt's value.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
it blew me away in those stats. He's 8 points.
He didn't see that. He was like, "Well,
He didn't care. He's like, but what best abilities available. I'm like, Nick Bosa, because he was telling me Nick Bosa is the best defense player in the league. I said, Nick Bosa is great.
yeah."
I said, but I was like, well, Dad, what about Nick Bosa missing a whole season already? And he's like, whatever. But I was like, I don't know of anybody else that I've ever seen that is worth 8 points, 100 yards and 3x in both turnovers and sacks.
No.
It's crazy.
No. Hard to
imagine that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, you'll get the Kelce's, Watts. I think the Mannings ultimately. I think Sterling Sharp does deserve it. Sterling Sharp was elite.
Yep.
That's what it is.
On to Sunday football, Sunday afternoon. The Bengals knock out Buffalo, 27-10. The final score. Bishop, one thought, one game ball, one goat.
Well, it took a minute, but I think we've gotten to the point now. We're probably seeing an overcorrection to it. This is who the Bengals are. They've been this for a minute. We whipped them on Halloween. No one's really been really close to him since. Burrow right now is the quarterback that you would least like to have to be on the opposite sideline in the fourth quarter in the whole league, including Mahomes. And some of that is Burrow just doesn't kill you. He's not throwing the bad pick. He's so cool under pressure. There's a lot of Brady to him. There just is. The way he moves in the pocket, the way he stands in there, the way that he's more athletic than you give him credit for. He's a cool customer, man. And he lifts everybody in the whole operation.
Yep.
So that's my one thought on that, is that everyone's kind of caught up a little bit on them. Mixon was great for a game ball. Chase was great for a game ball if you want to do that. And then, probably, though, who deserves it, we talk so much about their offense. Their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, is a dude. And he's got think about the reclamation project with, like, Eli Apple.
Sure.
By the way, stay off Twitter, Eli.
What is he doing?
It's just a bozo. Mike Hilton was great. That was a nice signing from them
Took
for
him
Pittsburgh.
right off
2 years ago.
the heap
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh.
That was a good
He's
one.
a nickel blitzer.
Logan Wilson. These are guys we've talked about a lot.
A lot.
And it's good. It's a good squad.
So who did you give your game ball to? Joey B?
Joey, yeah.
I'm going to give it to the Bengals defense. They can all share it. I mean, that was a dominating defensive performance against the Buffalo Bills. I don't know that there really is a GOAT in the game. If I was going to give one, I'd probably give it not to Josh Allen. I'd give it to the Bills defense, because they blew a couple things that let those touchdowns happen early in the game, and that was really the difference. They were, down in that 14-0 hole right away, and that was that. But that defense, they held the Bills to 4 of 12 on third down, 325 yards in offense. They got Josh Allen once, only one touchdown. They stopped them on fourth down a couple of times too.
Yeah.
It was a darn good performance. Darn good.
Final one of the weekend, and it came down Sunday night as the 49ers hold off the Dallas Cowboys 19-12. The final score is Zagura, one thought, one game ball, and a goat.
Kind of an old school smash mouthy type
was
of
fun.
a game. It was fun to watch. Beautiful uniforms. It was great. Game ball for me goes to the 49ers defense. They got after the Cowboys. 17 pressures from the guys up front. They had turnovers off of those pressures. I thought DeMeco Ryans did a great job in this one, and obviously the GOAT is going to be, Dak Prescott. And clearly the Dallas Cowboys feel that way. I think it's really their whole offense's fault. It wasn't just Dak.
Yeah.
But obviously the interceptions were costly. They didn't produce 300 yards of offense. They went 5 of 15 on third down. So Niners defense dominated, got it done, and Dak obviously struggled. And there's a lot of people unhappy right now in Dallas. And for the Cowboys, again, to post that on their Twitter, that Dak Prescott basically blew the game was, to me, stunning.
That
Stunning.
had to be approved by Jerry Jones or
Yes.
someone with a Jones in their
Screaming
last
A
name.
said that this morning.
And
Absolutely.
it wasn't taken down.
No, it stayed up. So somebody with Jones in the last name approved that being put out there.
That's right.
There's no way you do something like that without it. Zero chance. So, yeah, that's it. Game ball we've talked about Purdy so much, but it's amazing. Like, there was a moment in the postgame where Aaron Andrews is interviewing Purdy and Kittle. And Purdy is still really fresh-faced and really kind of wide-eyed to all of this, even as cool as he's been as a player. But then I saw how Kittle was next to him, and I go, oh, I see. Kittle is a security blanket for him on the field and then off.
Yep.
He's both. So that little arrangement was something that I thought was very, very cool. So those two guys can split the game ball.
I think Juszczyk, too. I think Juszczyk and
great.
Kittle both
Yeah.
have kind of taken
They got him. They got him. They take care of him, and then he just goes to Kittle when he needs to. Kittle, since Purdy's been in there, has been a different animal.
No doubt.
Entirely. So that would be That would be your game ball there. Your GOAT, I'm going to give it to the Dallas Cowboys game day operations for what in the hell happened in the last 2.5 minutes of that game. So, like, first of all, I would have gone for it for starters.
100%.
I would never have punted it to Kyle.
100%.
I would have gone for it. So
Yep.
let's start there. But if you're not going to go for it, then before the third down play is called, the punt team is standing on the sideline, ready to sprint out and punt the ball. If you're not going to go for it. Again, I would have. But if you're not, then that's the way it's got to go. The fact that, and by the way, the 49ers really blew it twice. He shouldn't have even have fair caught the dang thing. If he just would have let it roll, it would have went all the way to the 2-minute warning, and then that would have been it, and there's no play stop there, let alone Elijah Mitchell if he just stays in bounds.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
Dallas botched that whole thing so bad that even though the Niners really botched two things, they still didn't have a chance because of how badly the Cowboys botched it.
Yeah.
You have got to go win games. You cannot punt the ball with 2 minutes and 5 seconds and give it to the other team. I don't care how many timeouts you have. Can't
No.
do it.
No.
It's ridiculous.
Yes. Yes.
Awful. I love that game, though. I was surprised how much I love that game. That was fun. Very good game.
One
All right.
thought from the divisional round.
All right, very good. We'll go around the NFL. Coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. There's a new way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns with the help of your favorite four-legged companion. Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. Pop quiz, Dr. Z. Who,
baby.
without looking at the rundown, who hosts Tom Brady's podcast? Did you know he had a podcast?
No, I didn't. I know Jim Gray is a part of it.
No, you got it. I don't know beyond that. I've never listened to it.
Else?
There could be.
Okay.
Okay, so Jim Gray does the Let's Go podcast.
Yes.
It's on his Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray. So despite all of the Jim Gray missteps through the years, he still is.
I don't understand.
I don't
why.
understand any of it.
I have always found him to be
Not likable?
So unlikable. Yes.
Yes.
So unlikable.
So, but I don't know. But LeBron picked him to do the decision.
Which was
You remember that? Insane?
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's doing this thing with Brady. So Brady was on his Let's Go podcast when Jim Gray asked him about his future. Here is the answer.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already fucking done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question
scratching.
that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
You're scratching? I mean,
Okay, so just so I understand the dynamic, Jim Gray works for Tom Brady.
yeah.
So he would have known that question was going to be asked. So this was all a big put on? Like, can you even trust anything with Brady anymore?
No.
He fake retired a year ago.
Yeah. No, you can't. It was that
That's
felt like
weird.
a very visceral reaction, though.
Sure
that
did.
Felt quite genuine in his reaction to the initial question.
Do you think that he didn't know that question? I mean, what the hell? Of course, that's what other question would anybody want to hear him answer?
I don't know. I think he also realized he came out sounding like a lunatic crud.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, yeah, I appreciate you asking the question. I don't know, man. The whole thing, people do want to know. He has the right to make that decision on his own time, but like to respond to Jim Gray that way, I thought was a little bit absurd.
Who works for you?
Who works for you? That's right. Yep. Yeah, it felt like some
there is-
misplaced aggression.
There is zero chance that they did not go over everything in the pre-show meeting that was going to be on that show.
Unless they don't have a pre-show meeting.
But why would, even still, that's the one thing you'd run by.
Be like,
Hey, I need to ask you
hey, I'm
about
gonna get
I think we probably need to get
let's
into
get
this.
an update on your status.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then he
Yeah.
asked him. Maybe he wanted that question to be asked so he could give that response for whatever reason. I mean, you can't. I don't think he does anything on accident.
Never. No. Patriots make a hire. Alabama offensive coordinator and quarterback coach Bill O'Brien is the new offensive coordinator in New England. Belichick knows what he likes, and he keeps hiring them. Those guys keep getting run backs. This will be O'Brien's second tenure there in New England. He gets the car wash from Alabama. The one thing of note here is he would have been the offensive coordinator, or at the very least an analyst for Mac Jones when Mac Jones was in Alabama when he won did not win the Heisman Trophy. Devonta Smith won the Heisman, but they had one of the best offenses in college
I
football
believe
history.
he was his quarterback coach, maybe OC, but I thought OC was
Kiffin wasn't there in 20.
no, who was the lunatic that went on to coach at Texas?
Sark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. It would have been Sark. Could have went Kiffin, Sark, O'Brien. So he was there as an analyst or quarterback coach or something,
Yep.
but not as the offensive coordinator. So there's a chance to salvage Mac Jones if you're New England, I would think. So that's where that goes.
Are we sure he's even?
Well, no,
there's
I'm just saying
anything
if
there?
he is, they just used a one on him 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There's some familiarity. Look, you can't go Matt Patricia.
I'd
and
like to
that's
have
not your best foot forward.
I think there should be a podcast with Jim Gray with Mac Jones, two very unlikable people together in one place.
Yes. Cowboys running back Zeke Elliott says he wants to remain in Dallas, willing to take a pay cut after next season. Yeah, I bet.
After next season or
Yeah.
this season
Take a pay cut to stay next season.
to stay next. I mean,
I would not. I would be
Is-
like,
let me ask
it's been a good run.
Let me ask a question.
Sure.
Is Zeke Elliott a top 48 running back in the NFL.
No, I wouldn't think at this point.
No, so he's like a bottom half of the league backup. Like right now, sitting here right now today, I would much rather have Dearness Johnson or Jerome Ford than Zeke Elliott. I think he's cooked.
He looks cooked to me. I was trying to.
I think he's
Oh
cooked.
boy. Yeah, you're not paying attention to like the day in day out Cowboys operation. So he averaged 3.8 yards a carry, 876
In the same offense with Tony Pollard, who did what?
Yeah.
What did Tony Pollard
So
average?
the last time that Zeke averaged more than 70 yards a game was 2019.
Tony Pollard.
Yet he still had 12 touchdowns.
Yeah,
They used
'cause
him
they
in
get
goal
the goal
line stuff, yeah.
Tony Pollard, 193 carries, 1,007 yards, 5.2 yards a carry.
I will say that this is the year that it really fell off because even last year he was 4.2 a carry, so that's not dreadful.
No.
This was the year when it really fell off.
Pollard also 39 catches, 371 yards, 3 touchdowns. Zeke 17 catches for 92 yards, 5 yards a catch. He averaged 3.9 yards a touch. 3.9 yards a touch. Pollard at 6.
Kyle Shanahan saying today it's unlikely that Jimmy Garoppolo would be available to play against the Sunday against the Eagles.
What does that even mean in the event that he got hurt?
And the only chance would be as if Purdy. He would never do anything with Purdy.
No.
Nothing.
But
And that would go all the way through the Super Bowl.
Well, there was discussion, could Jimmy G come back? They haven't closed the door on him coming back for the Super Bowl, but clearly it was
You
a
could have him
long
as
shot.
a backup.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't.
I would think you got to stay with a hot hand.
Yeah.
You can't bench the
You
guy.
can't
He's never
bench him. He hasn't
lost.
lost. I mean, that's the Brady
What would
thing,
Pedro
right?
not Pedro do?
Belichick had to do that, except Bledsoe was the number one
Yep.
overall pick and had led them to a Super Bowl previously. Not a win, but to the game. And Belichick had to ride the hot hand. You got to do it. Did we get into this yesterday? The Shannon
No.
Sharp stuff. We talked about it
No,
off
we
air,
talked
but not
about
on.
off the air.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shannon Sharp gets into a fight with the people in Memphis, and then at the Lakers game on Friday, escorted out. Then ESPN reports on him, so they actually get the opposing network, rival network, to do a story on a Fox Sports 1 talent being escorted from a game. So there's a benefit. Everything they're doing is a shoot, man. It's all that. It was
work.
a work. I'm sorry, I
Yes.
don't have my wrestling term right.
right.
It's a work. It's all is. That's what Bayless did when he went at him and said, "You're not a real Hall of Famer. Brady is. You're jealous of him." Said that to him a couple of weeks ago. No one's watching that show. So it's all done to create.
I would agree with you. I've watched this 100 times, so I was fascinated by it. There doesn't seem to be any way in the world that he would just pick a fight randomly with Dylan Brooks.
Oh, I'm not suggesting that the moment wasn't genuine. I'm saying that everything they're doing is to an 11 for the attention. I'm not saying he went to the Lakers game to pick a fight with Dylan Brooks and create
But
a
once he
stir.
did, he
But
leaned
once he's
into
in
it.
the middle, he stirred into it, leaned into it.
Tell you what,
Yeah.
Steven Adams, who is clearly the bigger brother of Jason Momoa,
Yep. Which is large.
was right over there, like in his face, and he is so much bigger than Shan Sharp, and Shan Sharp's a big guy.
Yes.
Was ridiculous. And then him and John Morant's dad getting into it.
Yeah.
The whole thing was wild.
It's all nuts.
The fact nobody else, and I wouldn't say nobody else, but nobody under his level is back in their seat.
No.
Joe Schmohawk sitting in the front row gets into it. Players.
LeBron throws. Remember he threw those kids out in Indy?
Yeah,
Those little brats?
gone.
Gone.
He did apologize to LeBron because LeBron had to vouch for him and to help. I think LeBron helped keep him there.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, we will get into our positional breakdown coming up next. Second hour coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Shotgun with Hunt on his left hip. Brissett looking up in the pocket. He's going to run, and then he fakes. He runs right. He's got the end zone, and he leaps in. Touchdown, Jacoby Brissett. And the Browns are back in it. It's 10-6. Out of the shotgun, Brissett back to pass. Looks, throws, middle. Cooper caught it. Touchdown. Just what you said. They're thinking touchdown, and they get touchdown. Brissett to Cooper for the second game in a row. Brissett, play action fake. He drifts back. He's up in the pocket. He rolls left to the pylon, dives, touchdown! Jacoby Brissett. He took the long way home. And the Browns jump out to a 17-0 lead. Watson underneath center on first down, turns, bootlegs out to the right, in the pocket, comes back left, throws, he's got a man wide open, it's caught by Peoples-Jones, he's to the 15, down to the 11-yard line, brought down by Petrie, and a strike thrown there by Deshaun Watson. Here's Brissett, keeping driving left side, got it, inside the 35, at the 34, Jacoby ended up with 2.5 on the carry.
How about the ovation he got from this crowd to come in for a quarterback sneak? I love that.
And he takes a knee with 40 seconds left to go, and Watson celebrating out in front, looking to the sky, clapping to the fans with the game ball. His first start for the Browns at First Energy Stadium is a win, but what a win.
We got about 30 here left, Bo.
Baltimore Ravens, the Browns will win it 13-3. Here's a straight run by Deshaun Watson, 10, 5, and he high steps it in, touchdown! Boy, he is fired up. That was a thing of beauty. Third down, Watson back to pass, up in the pocket, throws wide open, Peoples-Jones has it, and he's going towards the goal line, and he leaps in, touchdown!
Great pocket awareness, great patience, letting that develop. He gets Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Deshaun Watson now has his first multiple passing touchdown game as a member of the Cleveland Browns.
You're up.
And with that, we start our off-season position breakdown at the quarterback position on the roster. The guy you heard from last, good call out to you, my friend. Deshaun Watson under contract through 2027. Started just the 6 games, was 3-3 in those, 1,102 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks. We'll get into the specifics of all of that in a second. Kellen Mond still under contract through 2025. Jacoby Brissett is a free agent. He started 11 games. 4-7 was the record. 2608 on the passing yards, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions was what it ended up like for Jacoby Brissett. This is a two-parter. It is an appreciation of Jacoby Brissett and what he was able to do and the position he was put us in to win. All the while, I think we can say that in totality, this position was disappointing over the course of the season.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately fair. As a group, you know, they didn't throw 20 touchdowns this year. They threw 19 in a 17-game season in the NFL in the year 2022.
Yeah.
They threw 12 interceptions as a group, 62% completions, 6.9 yards per attempt, 218 yards a game, quarterback rating of 85. This offense should look vastly different next year. You're still missing that speedy playmaker, something we said was critical, and I think it really reared its head. You had to switch gears midseason. That was tough. Let's start with Deshaun Watson. As you mentioned, in the 6 games, 1,102 yards, 58.2% completions on the season. But he did get better as the season went on. 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the last 2 games combined. The 4 games prior to that was 2 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. His quarterback ratings, 3 of his 4 best quarterback ratings were in the last 4 games. The one exception in the last 4 was the game against New Orleans, which was an absurd game to try to throw the football in anyway. So his last 3 decent weather games were his 3 best. And in those 3 games in decent weather, he threw 6 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. So that's more what you expect out of Deshaun Watson. Were the big yards there? No, but if you look at the last 2 weeks, he averaged almost 8.7 yards per attempt. That's very good. That's around where he should be. The completion percentage was over, around 60 because he went 9-18 against Washington, but those 9 went for 169 yards and 3 touchdowns. Too many sacks taken, 12 in the last 2 games. They've got to figure it out, and he alluded to sitting down with Kevin Stefanski and trying to figure out what this offense should look like. But this was a guy who, prior to this, with a full season, his last full season in the league, led the league in passing, led the league in yards per attempt, led the league in yards per completion, had the highest at the time completion percentage in NFL history, third best quarterback rating in NFL history. Yeah. He was as good as it gets. And this year was a struggle for him. And I think coming in was a struggle. One thing that we do need to note, though, is that he is able to use his legs. He ran for 175 yards and a touchdown, averaging 5 yards a carry in those 6 games as well. So that's about 30 yards a game. You do that over a course of a season, that's 500 yards rushing in addition to everything he does passing. So he's the future. He's the guy. He's the starter. Jacoby Brissett was great. It was a career high for him in basically every appreciable metric.
Yep.
He was an incredible leader. The Browns should have been better than 4-7 when he was there, and if they took care of some of the business that should have, they'd be in the playoffs. And who knows what that would have looked like, but they would have had that opportunity to play in the postseason. I still don't quite understand the decision to let Josh Dobbs go.
Yeah.
He ends up in Tennessee, and I thought had a strong accounting of himself.
Absolutely. He could have stuck around here as a...
Well, the good news is he is a free agent at the end of the year, and you can bring him back as your backup. Kellen Mond, somebody that they liked, somebody who was a third-round pick, in Minnesota. They let him go. The Browns obviously are committed to developing him. But I say as this position goes forward, Jacoby Brissett will be starting somewhere next year. You've got Watson. You've got Kellen Mond. What you need is – and I guess part of the calculation was they thought they could get Dobbs back to their practice squad. He didn't want to come back to this practice squad. Understandable. They must not have felt that time that he was the long-term answer as a backup. I think he showed some good things, but they are going to need to get some kind of a backup back in this system because I don't think Kellen Mond is ready to play football for the Cleveland Browns at this juncture, and Jacoby will be playing somewhere else and starting somewhere else. He absolutely earned that right.
I remember us talking about this in September. We didn't talk about it long because it wasn't that much fun to talk about, but certainly remember saying that this notion that Deshaun Watson was going to be like a Madden character and you would just plug him in and he would be a 98 Deshaun Watson and away you go. I never really bought into that because you can't miss as much time as he did and think that it would just be like turning on a spigot. All of that to be said, I was a little bit naive to how long it would take for him to look good. I thought it would come a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And it took a minute. 700 days is very real. I think the other thing that I was a little bit naive to is the incredible adjustment from quarterbacking that at its best under Kevin Stefanski is very structured, very on time, very in rhythm, to Deshaun Watson, who is a freelance artist. So he is an abstract painter. He does not paint within the lines all the time. He can, but he's willing to not. And it didn't mesh very well for us. Even up front, some of the holding stuff, we talked about that with Joe, how, the extending of plays that Watson would do. A play's not over yet. We had some early on. We had some, blocks downfield and stuff that shouldn't have happened. Some holding stuff that shouldn't have happened because we aren't used to playing with somebody like him. And I was naive to how long it would take for all of that. And we shouldn't have been. We should have been a little bit more aware of it all. It can be both that there was a miscalculation from all of us on how long it would take for that to look really crispy, and also that it felt like it should have been better sooner, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I think that there need to be adjustments on both sides. Let's start with the Deshaun Watson side. The layups have to be layups. Mm-hmm. You do not have to make the play every play. There is nothing wrong with throwing a nice 5-yard completion underneath coverage that's safe. The layups need to be layups, and I think that there is a sense, from those who have watched the tape and talking to the coaches that's what they need from him. We know you're going to do spectacular things, but you don't have to do it every play. Just let the layups be layups, and that'll be spectacular. And then on the other side, it's getting everybody used to what Deshaun Watson can do when he does go for the spectacular, when he extends a play, playing to those strengths, becoming more of a throwing football team. Like, we still ran the ball more than just about every team in the league. I think our overall run rate was 3rd in the NFL. We need to throw it about 60% of the time, run about 40% of the time. That's the reality of the NFL. And I know we've got Nick Chubb. By the way, doing that will help Nick Chubb. And we've got a quarterback that you can count on. We need a speed receiver. But I think if Deshaun can get to the point where the layups are the layups and that he's not trying to do too much, and then the big plays can happen within structure, and then, of course, sometimes out of structure, we can get better as a scramble drill team. Like the first touchdown Burrow threw to Jamar Chase against the Bills was a scramble drill.
Yep.
He steps up. Chase finds a hole. Boom, touchdown. So I think it's a combination of all of those things. But he showed you in that second half against Washington, like what he can be.
Yeah. There was dude, go to the Houston game. There in every game there was something that you went, "Oh.
Yep.
There it is." That's all of it. And you mentioned Chase and Burrow. They've played 3 full seasons together.
That's right.
So like there's and that's
an understanding.
An understanding of you're going to be, and that's what needs to happen here. Yeah, a full off season will give Deshaun Watson. By the way, he had an off season last year. He had a training camp last year, but he missed all that time in the season. A full off season here with Amari Cooper, with Chief, with DPJ, with whoever else we bring in here at receiver, with the offensive line, which all of those things will get all of that working in concert. And last year thrown into it, and this goes to the question, give me one word to describe the Browns quarterback room this past season. I used awkward. It was just awkward.
I would call it more disjointed. You had a stretch of Jacoby where I thought he played winning football. You go 4-7. Watson goes 3-3 and gave you those flashes of brilliance, right? And Jacoby did. Jacoby was great against the Bengals last time the Bengals lost. I think it was a little disjointed, and it wasn't what it needed to be. This offense was not what it needed to be. I wouldn't put that all on the quarterback. Now, to be fair, you could say, well, but wait a second. When Brissett was in there, we were top 10 in every metric on offense, and we were because of our ability to run the ball. But that's still not the offense you need to play, as we see our quarterback coach, Drew Petzing, walking through the halls right now. But I think if the layups, and under Jacoby, for the most part, layups were layups. He saw that clearly. He doesn't have the special playability that Deshaun does, but if we can get him to take the layup portion from Jacoby, keep his special playability, this is a team that could be dynamic on offense. Next year, we need to be at 30 passing touchdowns, not 19.
I used awkward just because when I think back to camp and how that was all having to be run, how did you deal with Watson when he came back? Like, there was no brochure for any of it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to be anything other than awkward. It had to be because it was just such a unique situation to have everybody in. We talked about Watson and the things that he needs to improve upon on a scale of 1 to 10. Where do you prioritize bringing in a veteran backup quarterback?
I think you're going to have one unless you feel like Kellen Mond has really ascended. Look, it's not somewhere where dollars are tight. It's not somewhere you're going to invest a lot. We have other needs on the defensive line. I think we need a speedy receiver. We're not going to be able to draft all of these things. But I do think you need somebody who knows the system and is competent. Unless you're saying, look, if as many teams do, right? If he gets hurt, we're toast. I mean, that's how the Rams have always done it. If Stafford got hurt, we're toast. And they were.
You don't really need a veteran because Watson is a veteran.
Yeah, if Burrow gets hurt.
You just need somebody who can, if something were to happen to Watson, can run a similar type of operation. Which is
why I thought Dobbs made a lot of sense, and maybe Dobbs will be back. We'll see.
Yeah, like Watson's 27 years old.
No, you don't need it to be a veteran for a leader in the room or anything like that.
No, nothing like that. You just need someone who can pro.
Yeah, somebody who can play. But again, you're never going to have a situation like Jacoby Brissett's one of the best backups in the league. You're not going to have that when you have that good of a quarterback. Who's the backup behind Burrow? Brandon Allen?
Yeah.
Right. Are they a Super Bowl contender without him? No. Are the Chiefs a Super Bowl contender with Chad Henne? No. Are the Bills a Super Bowl contender with Case Keenum? No. None of it. So you got to have your guy stay healthy. Now, you want to find a Brock Purdy situation, that's pretty great, but that doesn't. This feels very rare.
Yeah. You imagine the amount of circumstances that allow for Brock Purdy to even be playing right now. Lance Garoppolo.
Sure.
They decide to pick him with the Mr. Irrelevant pick, like the whole thing. Like the script is far more likely that Brock Purdy's 29 years old and has never taken an NFL snap than it is that he's done what he's done right now.
It's far more likely that he is out of the league by the time he turns 29.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And has been for a few years.
This has been the case is nearly impossible.
Yes.
Finally, Gibby wants to know, as Jacoby Brissett leaves, which is likely, what team does it make the most sense for him to sign with? Do you think it's for sure that he's not back?
Jacoby?
Yeah. You think it's for sure not?
Yeah.
So you do think he'll start next year?
I think you'll get an opportunity to start somewhere, or at least be in with a rookie and push somebody. Yeah, I do. I mean, I think he played well enough around the league that somebody would give him a look for sure.
I was just looking through and trying to find a place where,
like, if
to me, he feels
takes
like
a quarterback at 4, they could bring him back.
Now you're talking like
Houston.
Somebody who takes a rookie, he comes in as that's kind of where that goes.
Yeah.
But this is an enormous offseason, and we talked about this with Hoff a month ago. We've been talking about this for a while. Jacoby Brissett is here. He's in Cleveland. He's going to put in the work, and that's the requirement.
Watson.
Yes.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson. Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
That's what it's got to be.
That
I
is
mean,
what
this
it's gotta
has to
be.
be, and there's going to have to be an adaptability of our offensive scheme to him. And I think that was the hardest part. I think that if you knew you had him for 11 games, you could have put much more of a Deshaun Watson-centric offense in. But once it became 11 games, you had to put this offense around Jacoby Brissett and then try to switch a lot of these concepts up on the fly. And I think that was just ultimately too difficult for this football team. And so a full offseason, him being the guy from day one, that will certainly, I think, set the Browns up for more success offensively. Personnel changes, we talked about it. And I think Deshaun will just be more comfortable. It'll be much more like second nature. Like you can't.
He couldn't even. That's why I keep coming back to awkward. Like he couldn't even really be the force of personality that he is because he was away and then he was back.
Too long,
but
right.
Jacoby was already there, and like they got along great. But like the whole thing was just was an awkward thing. I mean, the thinking was this was 4 to 6. It ends up being 11 in the middle of camp. I mean remember he found out walking off. I mean, it was just awful.
Yeah,
just awful. I'm glad it's behind us, and we'll see where all of this goes. All right, what do we got? A little higher, lower, better, worse? Coming up next.
Better or worse.
AP
coming
too.
Up next.
AP as well. You have that to look forward to, which is nice.
Oh my.
Before we get to that, though, fans, mark your calendars. Face Off on the Lake, presented by Meyer, the first major outdoor hockey game at First Energy Stadium. It's February 18th. Buckeyes, Wolverines at First Energy. Tickets on sale now, starting at just $12. For more information, visit firstenergystadium.com/faceoff or call 440-891-5050 for more. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Lucky, which was the supermarket. Lucky's was supermarket. Thrifty's was like the drugstore chain. And this goes and tells how old we are. But you used to be able to get like 5-cent sodas, like they're white labeled,
Yeah.
like the Lucky's sodas, and you'd get orange, grape. Like it would just say it on the side. That's it. That's all you got. Like you got like a stripe, and it would
That's
be like
right.
orange, cream. But those were like 5 cents a can. So of course that's like whenever we had a soda, that's what we had.
This was the can
Yeah, the
we had,
Shasta
was
is
this
unbelievable. Yeah, that's Shasta.
can. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's
That
what we
S,
get.
kind of the S in the wave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and their plant was right where we would get onto the freeway on Industrial Parkway in Hayward, California. And also shared a plant with the Rocky Road Candy Bar, which may be now defunct.
Remind me to run something by you on the candy bar front. I have an idea.
Okay. Is Shasta still around? Is it still in existence? Are they still pumping out
I mean, they
soda?
got. It looks like it.
Have you ever heard of Shasta, Poison?
I have not.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
that
you
was
can you
before
can
my
buy
time.
it on Amazon.
Okay.
I do not like their new labeling.
How expensive is it? Is it like a collector's
I think
thing? Or is it
no.
like,
I think it's just. I don't know.
Their orange was very good. Now,
Yeah.
it wasn't Fanta, not to be confused with a good Fanta orange.
Oh,
but
no,
it
no,
was
Fanta grape.
Fanta grape.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was a strawberry that was pretty good in the Shasta. I remember.
Oh, my.
Looks like a 12-pack is $26
Yeah.
on Amazon. So or pack of 24 is $26.
Oh, so $1
So
a
it's
can.
$1 a can.
They have 30 flavors on the
Caffeine-free.
Shasta Pop website.
Not Pedro was much more interested in a 12-pack for 60 cents. That's what he was looking for.
That was the.
Like, I can't even imagine what chemicals must have been in those sodas.
It doesn't matter.
I'm
You
here.
thrived as a child. You lived.
Yeah, I'm here.
Damn it! You had one after. I remember them after baseball games, a lot. You'd grab a Shasta.
Oh, yeah.
People would bring like the, now that people bring like the oranges and the healthy stuff and the juice boxes and
No, it used
organic
to be-
nonsense. No. It was bag of Doritos, Shasta,
Bag of
off to go. Or
Sometimes a good
and
juice box.
the ding dongs
Like
and
a
the
Capri
the,
Sun.
those things.
I was gonna say
Zingers,
Capri Sun
Ho-Hos.
is the post-game drink of my youth.
So
Yeah.
I used to we'd get pregame, we would get Big League Chew,
Of course,
which was
yeah.
awesome and its flavor lasted exactly 2 seconds,
Yeah.
if I'm being
But you
generous.
could just put like
a
the
wad
full
of it.
pack.
The key
Yeah.
the key to it was to start smaller and build, and
Yeah,
then
you had to
as
keep
you
adding.
put the shredded, the flavor would juice up
For a
So
second.
it would keep
Yeah.
it going for a little bit, but by the end you'd be.
Could you blow bubbles with gum, or were you?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
I was not. That was something I was never very.
What?
I do it in the
Good.
batter's box.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
yeah, blow bubbles all the time. I'll blow bubbles while I'm hitting golf shots.
Yeah.
Not afraid.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries
He's
at all.
safe.
We used to get, after like a big game, you'd get a ring pop.
Oh yeah.
Big game was you got a ring pop. Like, what's up?
Team MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it.
That was it. I like it. I like it.
I like it.
Shasta. Good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That was it. That was how it worked. Very different now.
It's a girl named Shasta that went to Bowling Green.
I bet there was.
I was a
Give it.
big fan.
Of course you did. It's a high ceiling, low floor on Shasta.
She one of the
No.
nicest human beings.
Good save.
Yeah, I was
Good
gonna
people.
say, really good.
Good save out of you.
Higher or lower, presented by our great friends at the Ohio Lottery, offering easy ways to keep gambling fun. So instead of a true higher, lower, just right,
Better or worse?
I'm giving you a task today to complete. And that is to determine the top 10 players, well, top 12, because we took some liberties here. The top 12 players that are still alive in these NFL playoffs. Now, the first 9 need to be skill position only. Quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends.
This isn't even a snake draft, Gibbe.
Nope.
Are you aware that Shasta has a flavor called California Dreamin'?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I just went through. They have recipes.
Fantastic. This
They have
is
Shasta
unbelievable.
recipes.
Isn't that like a
It's gotta be a-
citrus something?
I think it's got to be like orange cream.
Yeah,
is
like
my
a
guess.
citrus. Yeah,
Which has
California.
got to be delicious.
There was
Yes.
there was
Black cherry,
There's 30
root
flavors.
beer.
There was one down in Tucson when I go visit the great Zago, may he rest in peace. That was called, it wasn't Shasta, but it was like a local Arizona soda called the Cactus Cooler, and it was
Gorgeous.
a delight. Yeah, green can,
Oh,
Suaru
God.
on it, and then it was a citrusy soda.
I don't remember a raspberry cream. That's a
They
new
got
addition.
it all, brother. Come on.
God bless
Shasta's
them.
not messing around.
No, they're not. All right, let's do this. Sorry.
Why don't I don't understand? It's like, are we trying to?
Power rank the Shasta.
It's an
Cream
orange
soda.
cactus cooler is an orange pineapple blend. I mean, what more do you want?
Feels like a
Mix
big
that
one.
with some vodka and call it a day.
Yeah.
Oh, give it.
Costco
Hold on a
currently
second.
selling the organic pineapple juice,
Oh,
which the young
it.
Beamsy is a big fan of.
The Yugo de Pina. Getting ready. I'm going down there in April. Getting ready.
It's coming.
I have a little Yugo de Pina.
Cheap flights.
Not. Cactus cooler. Look at this thing. I mean, is that not a
That looks
beaut?
amazing.
Is
Who's
that
not gonna
not
want
That's a
that?
good-looking
beaut?
can.
It's a great looking can. It says
Feels like it's
it's
just-
hot here. We've got some cacti.
Yeah.
Let's cool down a
The
little bit
sunset
with
in the
a
back.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's unreal. The
It's a state
mountains.
of
Wine from the day with the
mountains?
Shasta.
It's not a soft drink. It's a state of mind.
It's right. It's an ethos, really.
so we're determining the top 12 players that
right.
are in
I have a question right
these playoffs.
now.
We're not doing a
determining the
snake.
top. So, like, is it supposed to be like whose team is better at the end? Are we coming to
No.
a consensus?
We are putting together our top 10 players left in the final
Okay.
four of
But
the
if
NFL
Poisel
playoffs.
does something crazy, like say the Dolphins are better than the Bengals,
That's not coming.
What
do
are we
I have
supposed
to
to
deal
do?
with it?
And you keep saying 10, but it says there's 10,
Well,
11,
that's what we
12.
do. We're gonna talk
What's the
about
deal? What's wrong? What's up with 11 and 12?
So the
You got
top
problem,
9
we'll
can
talk about
are skill position only. 10, 11, 12 can be offensive line, defensive line.
So are
Can
we
we-
coming to a consensus,
Can
or
we
is it a
acknowledge-
draft?
Can we acknowledge, based on Poisel picking the Dolphins over the Bengals in
That
his
was a
power
one-time
rankings,
thing.
Can we acknowledge that everything that he does is just a suggestion, but not an actual opinion?
Then
Just
what
a
is your
suggestion.
an
guys'?
assault?
Is yours a suggestion too?
Absolutely not. We're infallible, young man.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I
yeah,
believe
there's
we
separate
had,
rules.
I believe we had the
Poisel.
Bengals better than the Dolphins.
Yeah,
so,
we
I
did.
mean,
No doubt. The disrespect.
sometimes those.
I don't
things
think I
happen.
have a hot take sitting in here, so I don't
Yeah.
think you have
All
to
right.
worry about that today.
I mean, we're like
also,
80 games over
hot
500
takes
here.
should be somewhat welcomed on this show. Come on.
I love your
Segura,
takes.
if you
You're
can't
welcome.
figure this out,
I don't understand what you're asking us to do because
Look,
you have a draft.
start
Why
off
does it
this.
say
This isn't a-
Poisel number
All right.
one?
This
no,
isn't
we're
a
not.
hot
We're,
take.
we are instead of coming up with a list of the top 10 players and having you debate
We're
higher or
ranking
lower,
them.
we are ranking the players.
Okay, but it's not so much that Poisel's going
Says
to
number
say
one
number
is
one pick. I've
Isaiah
got
Pacheco.
this guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which would
What?
be
The
Well, you
number one
took my
pick is
number.
Poisel
all right. So
to make for the group.
It's
all
Pat.
right, so he's just going to say it. All
It's
right,
Pat.
so no,
I
it's
still
not
think it's
Pat.
I still think it's Pat.
Burrow.
Now this is where I'm saying we can debate
And
it.
here we go with the hot
Because I
take
know
city.
it's close.
I don't have a hot take.
Are you basing on the fact that he's got an ankle injury right now?
I'm banking on the fact that he's got an ankle injury. I'm banking on the fact that Burrow's 3-0 against Mahomes. I'm banking on
team
the fact
game.
that he beat him
All
last
strong
year.
arguments. That's fine.
Mahomes is your MVP.
I'm still.
You can't have it both
That's what I'm
ways.
saying. I still. Yeah.
You can be the MVP of the league, but based on where we sit right now, if I was picking one guy that I'd least like to play against, it would be
Okay,
Burrow.
if Mahomes is at 100%, what would you
but
say?
he's not.
If I'm just that's why I said if.
Well, if he is,
Hypothetical.
he's a magician
Okay.
for
And he's
sure.
number one.
Because
Okay,
because
fine.
if we are going off of that argument, then I will say Burrow too. But I'm going Pat Mahomes 100% because I'm assuming.
Well, he ain't going to be
He's not gonna be
100%.
100%. High ankle sprain.
So
All
it's
right,
a,
Burrow.
It's a
Then in
version
that case,
of it.
it's Burrow, and I'm cool with that.
Fine.
All
I did
right.
not think that was going to be a hot take to you, Bo. Come on.
No.
Boy, you jumped right into that with a whole barrel full of.
Bo was ready to
gasoline.
pounce, and he.
We're fact-driven on this program. Fact-driven.
Sure, we are.
We're like so many games over 5. We were what? What do we get? 3-4 this week. The week before I was 3-3, which was a little bit of a downer.
I'm even, Steven.
Even Steven for the playoffs. Okay. So we're still up. We're up like over
80 games over.
Probably, I think it's
Yeah,
89 now combined. You're welcome.
Bishop, the number 2 player still left in the NFL playoffs.
This is Patrick. It's Mahomes. Mahomes is 2. Even with the ankle, I would have him 2. Anybody have a problem with that? Even with the ankle?
I don't.
I don't have a problem with that.
Poisel doesn't he? Had him at number 1.
No, but I can see the argument
But
on
just
both
'cause of
sides.
the
I can't-
ankle
I
injury.
don't think I win anything.
He's
by
got a
trying
high
to-
ankle
to-
sprain.
to
Let me ask you guys
overpower
this.
Bo on this.
Even a healthy Mahomes, and I remember the magic he
taking
did with
Mahomes.
13 seconds.
I'm taking Mahomes.
Hold on. I agree that the ceiling is higher with Mahomes, but Mahomes will give it to you.
What do you?
And Burrow,
Mahomes has Kelsey.
I know.
Awesome. He doesn't have Chase, Higgins, Boyd.
Right.
Like
That's
he
okay.
is working with a way better group. Like they got rid of
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill,
Mahomes has,
and he's the MVP.
Mahomes has Andy Reid, who anytime we talk about I just did this in the last 2 weeks with a couple of different. I think you guys were out. I did it with Gerard, did it with a couple of the guys who played in the league. Because my whole thing on Kyle Shanahan, the only true genius in the NFL, is Shanahan. and they go add Andy Reid.
Yeah, he could be
all
a genius.
three said without skipping a beat, add Andy Reid.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, then you got to give play design Reid get some of that.
Okay.
Either way, Mahomes too.
Zagura,
Mahomes.
the number 3 player.
100%. This is a tough one for me. I actually do think this is actually a tough one. But I think given that he's been an MVP level performer, he is the reason that their offense works the way that it does. I got to go Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and
I'd go Christian
is-
McCaffrey. I would give a lot of consideration to.
Quarterback
about
is so
Kelsey?
weighted.
Kelsey, Chase. I mean, this
This is where those guys are.
these
all
are
coming
very
in.
good
Yeah.
players. Yeah. Hurts.
Okay.
Bishop
Yeah, it's Hurts.
for
Hurts is
pick.
Where's Brock Purdy come in? That's what I want to know. Guy hasn't even lost.
Oh, no, never mind.
one
Back
true
to-
genius of. See, you almost went snake. You almost got snaked.
Cleve TA right now on Twitter, the great Cleve TA. I refuse to believe there are people having actual absurd debates between Burrow and Mahomes. You better not be one of those people.
I am, and I'm with Dan Orlovsky on this.
Yeah.
I'm fine
The
where I
great
am.
Cleve TA.
Poisal, number 4.
I am going to go with Travis Kelce in this spot because that man is an absolute beast in the playoffs. He always is. Obviously, he scored 2 touchdowns last week and feels like he's always scoring a touchdown in the playoffs. Obviously, it helps when you have a quarterback like Pat Mahomes, but he just dominates. He finds a way to dominate every single game, and I think he's the most destructive non-quarterback in this group of players we have left so far.
I'm fine with that.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, he is first ballot Hall of Fame, just caught 14 passes.
Yeah,
Bo Bishop, number 5 to you.
I'll go Chase here. I could go McCaffrey here, but I think I'm going to go Chase. That would be my vote. I'd go Jamar Chase.
Would A.J. Brown not be thrown in this group yet for you guys?
Not quite, but I mean these are all.
Yeah.
These guys are all.
I mean, I'd go
pretty
McCaffrey
marginal,
just
yeah.
because he's like everything.
I'm a
like the
49er
Bengals
homer.
the Bengals still won quite a few games even without Jamar Chase.
Yeah, they won 3, lost 1, won 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are 2 great
but
substitutes.
the Niners went to the Super Bowl without McCaffrey.
This team right now is not going to the Super Bowl without McCaffrey.
No, it's him and Debo both though.
And
Like the
Kittle,
combination
yeah,
of
sure,
all of
sure,
it, like it all really
perfect
works.
storm.
You want Chase? I mean, I won't. Whatever.
It's all look. Once you get through the 3 quarterbacks,
Yeah.
then all these guys are they're all
right,
just so
McCaffrey
elite.
6 for me.
All right, 7. This is back to you, AP. No
Back
snake.
to 7. Okay, this is where I'm definitely throwing in A.J. Brown because he has been the catalyst to unlocking Jalen Hurts' full potential this year. And I think when you get at this point in the playoffs, the teams that have a big, steady, sure-handed receiver like him are going to help you win these games, especially if it turns into a shootout. And that's why I think I had A.J. Brown at 4. I think he's that valuable to the Eagles right now.
You would take him over Kelsey?
No, I had on my actual list I had Kelsey at 3, Brown 4. I had Hurts at 6.
Pick the Dolphins over the Bengals. What do you want?
Wow.
So
Can't help him. Can't help. He's young. He's young. He's sorting his way out.
I still think AJ Brown is that guy for the Eagles right now. So
Bo Bishop, number 8 to
Hold
you.
on a second. I just want to see what we're actually dealing with here. So Jalen Hurts played this year 15 games. 15 games. 67% completions, 8 yards per attempt, 37.1 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, 6 picks. And then
it's a big hammer. that's gonna drop.
760 and 13 touchdowns on the ground, 50 yards a game rushing. I mean, like you saw with Minshew, they had A.J. Brown those
Yeah.
games. They were not the same team.
yes,
6th, I'm just saying.
yes.
Eyebrows are a little bit raised.
Okay, look, like we said, you can rank all
Boys
these
out,
guys.
stand firm.
That's fine. Like I still think AJ Brown is the
Tell
reason
Pedro to
why
stay in his
Jalen
lane.
Hurts is a receiver can't fix every quarterback.
He's the propping up. All I'm saying is if you call Nick Sirianni right now and
You get
said,
one
hey,
of 'em.
Nick,
You get one of them.
for the NFC Championship
Yes.
game, you can have Jalen Hurts, you can have A.J. Brown, he's going to be like, ha, ha, ha. I'm taking Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
So then he can't be ranked ahead of that.
Is this the most important or the 12? How are we defining this? 12 best or most important?
The best. Once we get through the 9, then you can come up. You can do any other position.
And that's an
outside of
important
the
thing too. Is it the most valuable to the team, or is it most talented player at their position when you're ranking them against other guys?
The best player.
So you have A.J. Brown more talented than Jamar Chase?
By one spot this season.
A.J. Brown's very good.
He is. Nice.
He's very good.
That's what I think A.J. Brown is more. I think he's had a better
you
season
had him
than
better
Jamar
than Kelce
Chase.
too?
No, I had Kelce number 3.
Kelce 3. All right. I'm going to go Debo at 8.
Okay.
A.J. Brown this year, 1496, 17 yards catch, 11 touchdowns. We saw
beastly.
Tennessee.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good season. Like,
It's a very good season.
And
Very good
I think those numbers are higher than Chase.
So would you go at 8, Debo?
Chase missed 4 games, though.
He went Debo at number 8.
Debo 8.
Best
Number
of
9 is to you.
I mean, I like all these guys. I would love to have Devontae Smith on my team. I'd love to have Kittle on my team. I'd love to have T. Higgins on my team. I don't have like a bang the drum. I'd say of late, it's been Devontae Smith because he has been a monster. But you could also say of late, it's been Kittle. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Purdy needs Kittle more than maybe the Eagles need Devontae Smith. But Devontae Smith's been awesome, especially lately. He's been on a real tear, if I'm not mistaken.
I love watching his body control when he's able to get up and cut. I mean, because he's not the biggest. He's 6 feet tall, but he's 170 pounds. His legs looks like
so he had
twigs.
1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns on the season. But from week 13 on, 102 and a touchdown, 64 and a touchdown, 126, 113 and 2 touchdowns, 115, 7 for 67, which is the only game he did not have 100 or a touchdown since week 13. And then last week, 6 for 61 and a touchdown. I'm going to go Kittle, though. What do you think about that?
I don't have any problems with that. I had the Smith at 8 and Kittle at 9.
I would also say that's a pretty fair representation of these teams as they remain. That who you have in the 9 here, like it takes – the reason the 49ers have a shot in Philly is they have 3 of the 9.
Yes.
Right?
And, I mean, are we disrespecting Brock Purdy, who's been the best-ranked quarterback in the league since he's taken over, and we haven't even listed him through 9 people?
But so much of his success, though, is because of these guys that are already on the list.
That's fine, but he's still doing it.
He's been good, yeah.
He's been really good.
Would he make the top 12 here?
Like if his name, if we had his stats and his name was Jimmy Garoppolo, if Jimmy Garoppolo was playing like he would, Jimmy Garoppolo would have been 4th on this list.
That's a good point. I think
Chase in 12 games, 87 for 1,046 and 9.
He's good
in 12 games.
He's good.
Yeah. So give him 5 more.
He's good. He wasn't as good as he was in his rookie year because defense have played them differently.
To pick number 10, you can
not
pick
not on
anybody
the averages,
left.
but he was
Anyone
on pace for
team.
more yards, more receptions, and more touchdowns,
more volume, more targets.
Well,
I'm sure.
Is this is 10, 9? I forget what is it. Or
10.
10.
Oh, way more.
Pick
Yeah,
10.
this
You can
is
go
way more
anybody.
targets.
This is definitely Devontae. It was between Devontae and Kittle for number 9 for me as well. So,
but this can be a non-skill player, yeah.
Correct.
Oh, well, I'll still pick Devontae then. I think he still holds more value than non-skill players right here.
Bosa.
Yeah, I would take Nick Bosa. Agree with that.
Yep, the leading sack.
Where would Bosa rank if I allowed you to put Bosa in the top 9? Where would you put him?
The best way to do this would be to say take quarterback out of it because it's too important of a position to try to weigh it with non-quarterback positions. Like, would Nick Bosa be behind only Kelce?
Probably, because other teams can win without. Like, I don't think if Kelce went down and was out,
They're
like,
done.
that would affect their offense.
Right.
Significantly.
Take quarterback
Mahomes
out of
is
it.
Great.
Kelsey's the most important non-quarterback
Then I'd
left
put
in
him
the
there.
playoffs, and
Yeah.
then I would put Bosa too.
And then I'd put Chris Jones of the Chiefs probably next.
Would Trent Williams crack this list at all? I think top rated. I think
Stop
offensive
provoking.
lineman in the league. Like,
Yeah, that's not provoking.
He was
I like
great
that.
on Micah
yeah.
last week. Yeah.
Top
Yeah, I
rated
like that.
lineman deserves a spot.
Yeah, you have
somewhere on
Trent
this
Williams.
list.
You could have Hassan Reddick's been unreal.
You could pick a guy from the Eagles offensive line.
Any
too.
one of those cats, man. Those guys are unbelievable.
Yeah, these are. Is this the best Final Four that we've ever had?
I think it's the
That
best.
feels like
best,
a recency
two best,
bias, but is
so it's
it?
like it's the 2 best rosters
It's
from
the
the
hottest.
NFC and the 2 best quarterbacks from the AFC.
It's the hottest
It's
4
the
teams
hottest.
that have ever been.
Like
That 35-2 number, the quarterback since November, we've never had that.
nothing like that.
Now there's probably a 49ers Cowboys early '90s NFC Championship
Right, but who would've
versus
been in the
Bills.
AFC?
The Bills teams, some of those Bills teams were pretty good. I know they got slumped. Some of those Bills teams.
Who
but
was opposing them?
I don't. Not
They
always
went to 4
great.
straight Super Bowls.
I know it. Not always great. The other one going back would be on the other side where was there a Brady Manning versus each other in a final, but then the NFC, who's the opposite?
Yeah,
Because some of those NFC teams were dogs. I mean, God, the Bears played in the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
it's insane.
Yeah, it's brutal. Good job, AP.
Man, thank you. Do you mean that?
Yes,
gonna
I mean
say,
that. I
yeah,
love
sure,
you.
yeah.
I love you. We got
Love you guys too.
so much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Gathering.
Oh, the luminaries have sent out the bat signal, and the bats are flying.
Beautiful.
They're flocking.
Hey, did you see Mavericks up for Best Picture?
Duh, win, automatic.
Yeah, they should. Absolutely. Do it right.
So when I was down, you'll love this. When I was down the first night in Naples, we went to a fine joint, the Rocco's Tacos, talked about that. But because you can be outdoors, there was simultaneously going on a screening, an outdoor screening on a huge screen of Maverick. So we're eating Rocco's Tacos. We picked spots so we could also glance over in some of the good scenes and watch that. I mean, come on.
Do it right.
Do it right.
All right. Enjoy your Tuesday. The next level's next. Cleveland